Hi. Sometimes you might have a quite powerful computer at your disposal, but when running mixes in your DAW, you might still experience some problems with dropouts. And there are various reasons for this. Sometimes they're related to background apps, buffer size. Multiple things can interfere with even a very powerful computer and cause audio glitches. One thing I noticed lately, and which helped me optimize the performance of my computer, which is quite powerful, I'd like to show you what I did to get rid of some glitches, annoying glitches in my mixes. To have a look at my system, I'm opening System Informer, which is a great app to replace Windows Task Manager. And so we can see this is an i5 Intel 13600K, and it has 14 physical cores and 6 more logical processors. The only thing which I have now launched is a Reaper project. Actually one which is an analog mix, which means that I'm running all the tracks from Reaper out into an analog summing engine. Actually these are 2 SSL6s cascaded. And this is the OTB printing track. And for the sake of this demonstration, I'm not powering up the analog mixers. I'm using the in-the-box track here. This is an in-the-box mixing track. We can see in the task manager that Reaper is using every other core, the odd core numbers beginning with 1, 3, 5, 7, and then nothing, and then again here. The last 8 cores are also getting used by Reaper. And this led me to think and try if I could optimize the assignment of CPU cores to various apps. And it seems to help a lot, so it might help you also if you have this kind of problem. So if you have multi-core CPU, you might want to try what I did to get rid of annoying glitches. This app allows you to replace Windows Task Manager, and once you have done that, you don't even have to replace it. You can do that in the options. If you just launch it, you get this list of processes, just like in Windows Task Manager. And you have a lot of similar options. The important difference here is that you can easily assign the affinity for a certain process, like Reaper. So if you right-click a process, you get this context menu, and you can set affinity to the cores you want. Actually, all the 20 cores, physical and virtual cores, are available to Reaper. But as we can see, it doesn't use all these cores. Every other core is not getting used by Reaper. And that's what I'm using here for other apps. So let's go to something else, like I'm using QDIR as my Windows Explorer replacement. It's not launched. Let's just launch the browser, which is Vivaldi. So now that we have Vivaldi launched, you're getting plenty of entries for it here. And so in normal Windows Task Manager, it would be a tedious task to set the affinity for Vivaldi exe. Because if you right-click it, I can set the affinity, but only for every exe separately. And it will also not save the settings. So you would have to repeat this over and over every time you launch the browser. So here, the important difference is that you can check Save for Vivaldi exe, and then open up the Affinity panel, and then just choose all the CPU cores which are not used by Reaper. So I unchecked all CPU cores which are used by Reaper and allow Vivaldi to only use the other ones. I think for a browser it's still cool enough to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cores available. I don't have the impression that it slows down if I watch 4K videos in Vivaldi or have multiple tabs open, but it seems to help me get rid of all the glitches I had before without raising buffer size. My buffer size in Reaper is set to 256 samples, which is okay for my needs, still quite low actually. But I got glitches without this tool here and without these measures. So I went into all these apps here, like VB Audio Matrix Coconut, and set the affinity. So I will set this affinity to, well, I already set it to some degree. Let's go ahead and get rid of a few other CPUs which are used by Reaper. And it may then use all the ones, or the virtual ones, which are the last 4. Okay, so I had save checked, so it should remember this. And actually I went into the CPU column and ordered everything by CPU use. And then I went through the most demanding apps to set their affinity. Once we come down to almost no CPU use, I didn't change anything because I don't think it matters. And I didn't do anything for something like Explorer because I got a warning once I did that. Let's see if it comes back. I tried a few apps actually, and there were a few task manager replacement which gave me a warning when I tried to set the affinity for Windows apps. And the warning said that changing affinity of these operating system apps could actually deteriorate the performance of the computer, but I don't think that it has so much impact on the performance. We see that it's very low, so it's not even worth doing it. So I just went through the maybe 5 most demanding apps and those which were not related to the operating system. Some of those are now not launched. For instance, Avira antivirus has a few entries here, and I think a virus scanner may be interfering at some point when it starts to check at some random moment. So I actually set the affinity in another app. So I didn't do it here, so I will repeat it now. So I check the save option first, and now I set the affinity. And yeah, it did remember what I did in another app before. The other app was actually System Explorer, and the only thing which led me to ditch it and use System Informer instead is the great option of System Informer to be able to set the affinity for an entire branch of similar exe files at the same time, which saves a lot of time. And you can also have it save these settings. So this is why I really recommend using this app specifically for this task. So we now see that also Avira is not interfering with the cores Reaper is using, at least only very few, maybe the virtual ones. And I don't think that's a problem. And the same for all the other Avira entries. Let's do it once we're here. So it already had some settings, but now I hope this app will save it also. It seems to already know what I assigned in the other app. This is all okay. And to verify what I said, let's go here to Vivaldi, and then uncheck the Save option. So now if I pick a random Vivaldi Exe and change the affinity, I add CPU 15 here, and I now check with this one, we see that it didn't check it also for the other ones, and that's not what we want. So we want it to save for every Vivaldi Exe. Well, let's go ahead and just check it once, hit OK. Now it should be set for all of them, which is the case. So now it should suffice to just uncheck this one here. We have the saving option set, and now all of them have the CPU 15 unchecked, which is what I want. So yeah, that's much easier in this app. Actually, it fulfills all the demands I have for such an app, which I really like. And it is now set in its option to replace Windows Task Manager. And if I hit this button, it would restore the default Task Manager. There's not a lot to configure actually to have it work the way I want. This is actually the only option I checked probably. So I like the design, and now we know that all the most demanding apps will use the cores which Reaper is not using. And since I did this, I didn't get any audio glitches any longer without having to raise the buffer size of the audio device. So that might come in handy for you. Try it out. It's free and portable, and maybe it solves some issues for you too. I hope it does. Thanks for watching. See you. Bye.